Yeah, welcome back to the Kenyan week that was. And today I am honored and to have a lovely lady with me, someone that I've done a lot of work with in the past. And ladies and gentlemen, put your hand together for DX.
Hello.
How
Hi,
are you?
everyone. Thank you for having me.
How have you been?
I've been great. I can't complain. Life has been lifing, but good things have come out of it as well.
Very, very nice. It's amazing to again share a platform and a podium for us to be able to discuss. Last time we were discussing things, we were pseudo. And we never had put our faces out there.
It was the pandemic.
It was the pandemic. We were trying to survive.
Yeah.
So, karibu sana. Let's start by, how was your week?
My week has been
how is
good
it?
so far. It's just started.
It's just started.
Yeah, but it was nice. I had a nice restful weekend. So we're off to a good start and maybe new beginnings, new chapters. So
Brilliant.
always good. How was yours?
Travel a bit, came back, things are looking up, can't complain. And yeah, it's been a good week. Eventful. We just come off of June 25th.
Yeah.
So it's one of those ones that we've had the opportunity to reflect a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very sad.
Yeah,
Very
to
sad
get us
occasion.
actually started. News coming to us the other day. I think we need to, first of all, sympathize with all the families that have lost people.
Yeah, I
last
think
week.
we extend our
Yeah.
deepest sympathies to everybody that lost their lives and the families that were affected last
Very,
week.
very true.
And to all Kenyans and all of us that are going through this very tough time and a tough government,
Yeah, because
extending sympathies to
it's
all
one
of
of those ones that honestly, there's no accurate word to put what Kenyans are going through.
Yeah,
It's like that horrible ex that just won't let you go.
the one-time ex.
Exactly, the one-term
Is that
ex.
a new cuss
Yeah,
word?
it's a new cuss word. You are one-term ex, because the idea that this government doesn't seem to understand. For me, I keep asking myself, how much tears are equivalent or enough for the government to go like, okay,
Enough is enough.
enough is enough.
Let's hear what the people are trying to tell
okay,
us.
as in, we can't have mothers cry about their children anymore.
Yeah, it's a very sad state of affairs. But one thing that comes to mind is, with Gen Zs, I was meant to do a talk at one point, and I was going to talk about like leading Gen Zs in today's world. And emotional intelligence is a really big part of leading today's youth.
Yeah.
So that's why we no longer fall for authoritarian leadership or like leaders that are just coming to tell us what to do. We need people that hear us, empathize with
No,
us.
first and foremost, I don't know whether we are Gen Z ourselves.
Well,
I think
right, but I'm a millennial, but very Gen
Gen Z-esque.
Z-esque in terms of woke, how emotional intelligence is important to me.
True.
Basically. And I see what it means to them, basically. And I feel like millennials can empathize with Gen Zs more because we've got a taste of the world that they live in.
Yeah.
And boomers and other generations may not really get it the way that we do.
Because they were finward back in the day by the systems that they lived in. And I think we've had the opportunity of being the cross generation, where we got to see the authoritarianism of Moi,
Yeah.
the liberation and liberties of Kibaki, and then now the craziness of this one.
Yep. And then he has to bear the brunt of all the leaders that failed to listen to people. But not only just that, he fails in so many other aspects.
Because for me, listen, we have no ill will against this man. We don't have any
Small ill will.
we don't have this idea that we're not infatuated
It's not
by
personal.
we're not infatuated by how and when he will leave. The reasons why and I think this is where the first part that he's not getting. Kenyans don't want him because of who he is.
Yeah.
Is what he represents
It's
to the
true.
country. Because if he got it into himself and understood that it's not an attack on his personality.
Yeah.
It's an attack on how he's handling the office that we have given him.
Yep.
Because we are the ones who've, gone the part and gone like, we've given you the opportunity to lead us. So when we are calling out for things, don't make it look as though it's
you who gets to tell us,
it's
everything when we're the ones that you're representing.
You're representing.
Yeah.
Because you think about it this way. Like Jana, Juzi, NTV and Nation Media House ran a story about the church at State House.
Yeah.
It is the epitome of...
Delulu.
Because and did you see how he came out?
Yeah, basically saying that ilikuwa mabati before and it deserved a facelift and he's using his own money.
Yeah, do you know how bad that response is? Because anyone who's taught him any PR, I think he needs to really find some PR people. Perhaps he should have another advisor.
Let me tell you something about presidents and PR. America's president.
Yeah. Because, my guy, do you know some of these things is incomprehensible, because you cannot come and say you found a reason why, that because the church was a Mabati structure.
Yeah.
You should have asked yourself, why was this church a Mabati structure? Is it that other...
relevance?
Because at the end of the day, it is not something that is supposed to be permanent within State House.
Yeah.
You're only giving people some space. Because who said that Christianity is a state religion?
Kenya does identify as a Christian state.
No, but the Constitution says that we are a secular state.
Yeah.
Because we've had Christian presidents. Who says we're never going to have a Muslim president?
No, there's no
caveat to that. So the idea that you want to build a church within the confines of State House, a house that can be occupied by any Kenyan of goodwill from any religion, and you don't feel as though that is a bad thing that you're doing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's...
The thing is also like, he completely missed the point. It's the fact that you're not addressing what the concern is. The concern is not whether to have a church or not. The concern is why he's spending all that money.
No. He said that that was not our money. That the
so you just have
billion,
a loose...
He had a 1.2 billion loose money that he thought, I want to be generous.
To the Lord.
Yeah, build him a house. I think the best person that brought it to life was the Archbishop of the Anglican Church of Kenya, who said that, who is going to be the bishop of this church? Because the fact that it is in State House, it's supposed to be, so is he going to be the bishop himself?
Good question.
And when he's building this church by his own money in a public space, is he intending on living?
One term.
What
a one-term question.
We keep saying one term because I have a fear now. If he's building, it's like someone says, I've built a 2-bedroom house in State House for my kids.
Yeah, with my own money.
It's my own money.
Yeah.
But I've built, it's just like a house.
No, it's like a loose 1.2 billion. Maybe he doesn't mind leaving it there.
Perhaps. 1.2, do you know 1.2 billion? Do you know nowadays?
That's a lot of money. Those zeros won't even display on the ATM. I forgot to page 2.
Kenya has become such a weird space where now a billion sounds as though it's some 3 or 4 zeros.
And surprisingly, very few times we hear about it when they're reporting like financial statuses of companies.
No.
They're reporting corruption. That's
political
when we hear
individuals.
billions.
That's the sad part, because someone asked me how it comes in Africa is the only state where politicians are the richest people in the society.
Yeah.
What is this special Kool-Aid that they drink in parliament? Where now we have people saying, I'm almost a billionaire.
Do you remember what we were discussing about earlier? That basically leaders are a representative of their people.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. So basically, it's the Kenyan, you and I, who think this is unacceptable.
True.
But there's a Kenyan that got these people in power by voting them in. And don't come at me, guys, but literally, there's people that glorify this kind of people, and that's how they keep getting voted in.
So how do
So they are representing the majority of Kenyans. So there's a solution to be found there. And yes, we will vote in the numbers. Sirini numbers, hashtag.
Hashtag zero in numbers.
We'll vote in the numbers in 2027, but I think there's been a lot of work on like civic education.
True.
But there's
still
more
a lot
to be
of
done
work to be
because
done.
there's a mindset shift that needs to happen, because the most corrupt person can't be the person you're pushing and like basically doing harambes to make sure that they make it into office. That can't be the guy that General Mwananchi is trying to push for.
But the question is, when you say that we are the reason, they represent us as a society, do they represent us as a majority, or do they represent the majority that feign away from actually participating in these positions, on these events that will allow us choose the next leaders?
Yeah, I think there's something there that, they basically represent, if we believe in the voting system, which also that's in the air. Everybody decide what they believe on that.
Yeah.
But if we believe in the voting system, then they are representing the majority of the voters. So is it that the people that voted are like-minded people, and us who are challenging the status quo did not show up in numbers? Well, I think there's something to be thought about there.
True, because I want to think the 8 million Kenyans that didn't vote last election are the ones that are now complaining.
Yeah.
The ones that didn't participate in the civic duty of actually choosing a Kenyan the next Kenyan president. Because now, those majority of those people are the you and I's,
right,
who are, the Nairobi folk, who think of such events as holidays for a drink here, a drink there. Naivasha here, Naivasha there. But how do we change? Because now the past, we can't really correct the past, but how do we change? And how do we ensure that we can, drum up enough support?
I really just want to see all those Gen Zs that showed up in the numbers just show up like that in polling stations. And I feel like that's going to happen to a certain degree. There's some work to be done on the middle class and like us guys who go to office jobs and that kind of thing, because those are the people that really need to show up to add on to the votes. But like you see, there were goons who got paid as well. And I'm not sure of the demographic. Of the goons, but maybe they're just as young. So like for every demographic, I think there's just another one. It just depends. I don't know how we pull the right numbers, honestly, but I think as long as there's Gen Zs that can vote, there's goons that will be hired to disorient.
Yeah, because speaking of goons, today, the Kenya Human Rights Commission had held a press conference. So I'll tell you the story.
Okay.
So they've held a press conference to talk about police brutality that was meted out on women during the last week's protest. Do you know goons took over the show?
My heart breaks for all those women.
As in the idea that women are standing to speak about ills that have been committed, that we can even say on this platform.
Yeah.
But the idea that you send goons to disrupt their press conference. To what end?
It's crazy. And the satire of it all is that you're defending even those goons. Because you're goons because you lack jobs. We're fighting for you to be employed.
Everyone is fighting
for you to get hospitals.
Yeah. But how? Because you see, for me, it's very heartbreaking when you see, because some of these events, some of these things should not happen to anyone's child, anyone's daughter, anyone's sister. You wouldn't want it on anyone, generally.
Yeah, just so human to human. Just be better humans.
Just be a better person.
Yeah.
So eat the money. Me, I'm not refusing.
Yeah.
Cooler the money. You want to be called a goon, get the money. Just don't show.
Don't do it. Yeah. Why are you killing people?
What is so hard with them taking the cut and then staying at home and taking their mummies on a date?
And the low-key got their own karma because you saw them fighting because they didn't get paid.
Yeah, it's the sad part. I think it's the funny part because you think that you're making a stand, taking something serious, that you believe in something, and you're fighting these people that supposedly your masters have paid you to. Then you end up being shortchanged. The same guys, and then you show up again today.
I don't know how. So those are some of the things I'm like, how do you resolve it from that perspective? Because I'd love a Kenya that there are no goons for hire because they believe in their right.
Yeah, true.
To a government they can hold accountable. I want a Kenya that, makes it easy for everybody to show up and vote for their civic
Duty.
I'd love a Kenya that has an electoral system that we can actually trust.
Yeah.
And also like a Kenya where, I don't know, where middle income earners, I don't know, just show up and not sit somewhere and complain, but don't even have a voter's card.
Yeah, so for me, I think number one, we need to be able to differentiate the political leadership that we have. For once, let's think about who is your MCA? Because Kenyans don't know.
Yeah.
They don't pay particular attention to specific roles.
Yep.
So we never choose MCAs. And that is why we are blessed with someone like Robert Alai. A nincompoop of a human being. But hey, because you want to believe, imagine he's an MCA of Kileleshwa.
Imagine.
The affluent Kileleshwa. As in, that's the guy they voted in, hoping that he would help them.
I feel like if Kenyans would vote on X.
Yeah, perhaps we should move the voting. We should advise the current
Maybe
IBC.
we should have like IBC and X votes. And then
we
we
compare.
see.
Then bombers can have job to do. They look at X and go like, yeah, numbers, math is not mathing.
Yeah, but Kenyans are very active on X. And I don't know.
How do you but you see now even on X,
I'm relating that to Robert Alai. That's why.
Because you see, for me, I think the likes of, as brilliant as Babu Owino is, and he's done whatever jobs he's done for embassy and all this, I don't think we need to move away from such type of politician. Someone who in the past has used goons. Because if we can't be complaining, you can't be on the other side saying that these guys are using goons, but you yourself use goons in the past.
Set a thief to catch a thief.
Yeah.
Maybe he changed.
Normally in Kenya, he set a thief to become another thief. So now they collude. Because the same thing with Rigathi Gachagua.
Yeah.
Thank you for, the way the English ad that says...
Cousin.
Hi, cousin. It says that the enemy of your enemy is your friend. But he's still your enemy.
Yep.
Because Gachagua, imfikie, we don't really like him nonetheless. And he does not represent the positions that we want to have. Because he's the same person who said about shareholders. And cousins and shareholders are not too far apart. They are the same, they are cousins.
Yeah. Cousins and shareholders are cousins.
They are cousins. It's cousining somewhere.
Yeah.
But so we need to have a new crop of leadership.
We do.
We need to be able to, these young people, other than them being on Twitter, come out and put yourself in positions where we can vote for difference. Because so long as we are going to go with the two big parties in the next election, then we are always left with a choice between two evils.
Yeah, and we pick the lesser
and then
evil.
Whenever we pick the lesser evil, it seems to come and become a bigger evil than we thought. And then you give the likes of Raila a chance to be able to negotiate and become... We need... And that is why it segues to Chief Justice Emeritus, my president, Maraga.
Muliona akona charisma.
Akona charisma. Yeah, that was a good touch, because if we have the audacity to say that he doesn't have charisma or he's not inspiring, it's like, that perhaps people have been in that situation where you have that boyfriend that mistreats you or girlfriend that is just cray, but you never seem to leave them.
Yeah.
And you can't explain it to everyone else.
Stockholm syndrome.
You're like, but you guys don't know him the way I know him. Because for me, I don't know why Kenyans cannot be able to go like, hey, we are with you, Maraga. We want you, and we're going to do anything and everything that is required to get you over the line.
Yeah.
Because one thing they keep on saying is he doesn't have enough money. But can't we be able to go like...
We really can.
That we will choose him regardless.
Yeah.
And at least he will owe us now.
Yeah.
I want
Politics
to.
changes people, but you know, the same as politics, power, money, they
Yeah.
say it doesn't really change you. It brings out who you really are. So if we can vouch for his,
He says, and he was able to say that if there's anyone who's cool at Hongo from to show up. So no one has showed up. And if you're there, please show up. We know that he's the kind of person, but he's given us, and the way he's also handled his previous
he
positions.
really does seem like, you know, he might have a
And for me,
personality.
we need such a person, at least who can have the balls to say no.
Yeah.
Because currently, if either guys of Kinagashagwa come into power,
You know, one thing that I'm really very much for our former justice, but one good apple surrounded by all this rot. I don't know. Like, that's why I think for sure it's a start. It's good if he makes it there. You know, he might be able to do like a bottom up type of change. But there's a lot of change to be done from the grassroots.
it starts with you and
like
I.
everything's just surrounded by.
It's crazy because you see, like I am grateful. I've not seen him coerce or collaborate is the right word with the other side. I've not seen him with the Matiangis and all these people.
Do you think maybe they don't consider him a threat right now?
Yeah, but I like it like that because he can move in.
They
stealth.
won't see him
They
coming.
won't see him coming. You know, because if they see him as a threat, then they will get for him, or they will try and bring him on board. Bring him on board to destroy him. Because if I was to choose, currently, if you look at both the people who are running the presidency, the current government, and the opposition, the active opposition, the cousins people, we don't have a hope.
No.
We can't have Matiangi wanting to run for presidency.
Yeah.
What's the difference between Matiangi and Murkomen? Okay, Matiangi is at least sharper. Murkomen is just, we leave that one to your imagination. Because you cannot have, it's the same thing that whatever Murkomen said and whatever Matiangi said when he had the last week's interview, when he said, in his time, the Gen Zs, if he was a Minister of Interior, the Gen Zs would never have demonstrated or protested. What do you mean?
Would have killed them all.
So that is a scary statement.
That is crazy.
So,
and the fact that they go around saying such big words just like that.
Without any...
First of all, back to the church.
Oh, yeah.
If we're so religious, what ethical and moral authority do we have to be speaking the way the way the leadership is speaking? If you're very religious, is your Lord telling you to talk to your citizens like that?
But what if you are the Lord?
Oh, so the church
is his church and he is their Lord. Because you see now, the only reason you have that grandeur of saying, no, but I can build it. See, even Jesus said, on this rock, I shall build my church.
Yeah.
So on State House,
he shall build his church.
Kasongo.
And the devil's plans.
We are the devil. Because
who fail.
He called us. We are the ones. It's like we are possessed because we don't want him to do God's work. How are you building churches in State House when there are schools that don't have school classrooms?
I think the day and age where statements like that used to pass it's gone. That
was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Now we will juxtapose it to every other living. We have schools in Baringo that are under a tree.
Imagine. And we have a 1 billion
And we have a 1 billion church. It's an artifact that we can't visit. So who's going to go to that church?
It's personal. He paid for it.
He's the Lord. And he'll send his son, Murkomen.
Yeah, but we're in a tough spot.
But we're in a tough spot. Honestly, we laugh about it. But the truth of the matter is, I'm afraid.
Can I bring in something interesting
Please.
that I observed? Not on X, but I hear it was on X or on TikTok that before the June 25th Mandamano, Gen Zs or like people in general, I guess, were making jokes about calling the mortician and booking slots.
No, it happened.
That is insane to me.
There's an actual video that I watched of a young lady who was now addressing the mom and telling the mom,
If I don't
come back.
That's insane. It's you know what it is? It's like that's the level of frustration that you've resigned yourself to. I get it, like it's a real outcome. It's real,
Yeah.
it's happening.
Yeah.
But like, power of the tongue.
No, when you're tired and when nothing else makes sense and you feel like, I've got only this one card to play.
No, I totally get it, knowing I'm going outside to fight for my right that I deserve, and I don't care if I die.
Yeah.
I totally get that. I support it if I was in a position to
they're
probably
very courageous
go
people.
there, knowing that that's a possible outcome. But to book a slot pre-mandamano,
Yeah, it's because
there's a darkness there. That's
you see, like on the last episode, I was telling you before about the trustworthy index or calculation.
yeah.
What credibility is left with this government or reliability? What can we speak of how they view us? What levels of intimacy or care are they showing the country? Because for
Self-reflection.
because a child can say such things that I'll tell my mom goodbye, and I'll also go ahead and book a mortician.
That is so heartbreaking.
It's a country begging for help. And if you see, even the international community now is going like, what? There's something wrong. Because you can't tell me police are going to shoot people without recourse.
Yeah. And switching off the live
Who does that?
broadcasting.
That's why I keep on saying at times I feel this government is so out of touch.
And now they're pushing for 7-second lag.
7-second lag, and they have a lady by the name Kitani, who's running a bill to censure that will meter our internet access, so that now you'll have a commuter like for your steamer, so that when they want to nyonga for you, if you are voice, then they can get rid of you and they can create censures.
In whose hands are we saying?
Yeah, as in, I want to know, these members of parliament that we voted in, who do they represent? Do they read the same constitution where it says the people shall, or it's their master shall?
They're just there for whoever is filling their pockets.
But so how, because you see, if you think about all these people and their interests, what are they supposed to be governed by?
Yeah.
We don't have an IBC right now. We can't recall any of them. And they've ensured by the time they're bringing the IBC, it's almost 5 years. So everyone is sure that they'll hit at least 4.
It's crazy.
If you look at it, the grander scheme of things, they keep talking about the macro end of that Kenya is doing well. How comes no one is feeling they're doing well?
The grandiosity.
Don't even get me started. I was telling you earlier, I've lived through at least 3 presidencies. 4 now, in fact. I'm old.
Your age is showing.
And 4 of the 4, I've never seen a group of members of parliament so grandeur, so out of touch with the people that they feel the need to prove to us, the populace, that they are better than us. Even when people had more money. I remember the real old money, the Murarias, the guy for Muthaiga Golf Club, they had wealth that was real.
Yeah.
They never showed it to us.
Nope.
And we knew what they used to do before they got into these
Do
positions.
you think there's a bit of like social media influence there?
Yeah, they're all socialites. You tell me, makes sense from a Nairobi women rep. You're a woman, for heaven's sake. Now you tell me, because I can't understand. I can't seem to get her in any way. 1 minute she's defending Lagat, saying, I was with him. And I saw how shocked he was.
Honestly, there's people that don't deserve public offices. It's just abuse of authority.
And now he sponsored the bill for anti-protests. I can't understand who is advising these people.
But Kenyans are hungry through and through. There's that hunger for money that's just driving people in general.
I agree.
From the goon being paid
All the way to the member of parliament.
To the member of parliament whose only goal is to just fill up their pockets. And what's crazy is that it's funny that if they get sick, they're the ones that don't have a hospital to go to. All their relatives, what hospitals are they going to? What schools are their kids going to? But you won't fill up your pockets. You can only send them abroad for so long. And
last week, did you hear the story about there's a lady who she's a help who the boss or the homeowner had taken to hospital because she had a benign tumor.
Yeah.
And
Shah
said
it wasn't big enough.
It wasn't big enough.
Their audacity.
You can't make this shit up completely. Because what do you mean it's not big enough? But you see, it's because the members of parliament are not going to use Shah. They already have their own.
Until it comes to bite them. You won't be member of parliament forever.
But who says the perks that they get afterwards?
It won't sustain you forever because, and maybe but you have a generation.
You're the people that are making me happy because you're the people who believe in karma.
No, it's not that. It's not even so much karma. It's like, it's very selfish.
Yeah.
Because you're not thinking about your grandchildren.
It's very true. Because
you went to all the hospitals and the schools. You might have secured their financial future to a certain degree, but it will end and this country
will be no more.
Will still be their home. You know how people get treated out there? You still need a home you can come back to every so often.
You need, because wherever you are in the world, it doesn't matter.
It's not your home.
It's not home.
It's not your home.
Even if I keep saying, even if you get that extra passport, you get that extra visa, you get status, you will never be anything else other than Kenyan. And that is what perhaps is, and that's why I have a problem with the president trying to create jobs away from home, sending Kenyans from home.
Don't get me started.
Because for me, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't have value in the next 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
Because you're sending these guys, your best people, to go and build other nations.
Countries.
They develop while you are left hoping and dwindling with the people that you couldn't send.
Yeah.
You make it rationalize that, because what are we trying to achieve? And that is your goal that, actively you're trying to send people away.
I can't even make it make sense. That, I don't know. Do you think it's a bit of a colonial hangover where you just think the outside world is better than you in every way? That's why you think when they go out there, they're better off than in their own homes.
I completely agree.
And that's why you won't even build your own
systems,
like hospitals, systems, schools, because you've always just thought,
go outside.
Yeah, I'll go outside. And this is the standard set for Kenya, for Africa. But it will always be better outside.
Because you see, think about it this way. There's a story that is told about a Tanzanian member of parliament who was dying. He had some level of cancer or something like that. And he went to Germany for treatment. He got treated.
Yeah.
He got better. He came back. Do you know what he built next?
A hospital.
No, a church.
Thank God.
No, so that he can be able to bring more people to know that God healed him.
Bruh.
As in, and that's what our president is actually doing. Because you see, other than create systems, he thinks that we need a church. No pun to religion in any way.
Yeah, I mean,
but currently our country does not need another form of a church or religion. Oh,
because I should tax them.
Imagine I've seen the game plan.
I won't be too mad. No.
I have actually seen the game plan.
Say that.
Guess what he's trying to do? He wants to be collecting the Harambes. See, he's built a 1.2 billion church.
Yeah.
And then his MPs will come and give 100 million or 20 million. He'll recoup it.
That's the plan.
He's tired because the church said, we don't need your money.
Yeah.
He told them,
there's a church that needs my
wacheni
money.
na mimi. Najenga yangu. Right now, I will give and accept.
I was just thinking you'll be having guest pastors.
Yeah. But you see now, Mama will also be pastor. Because now, and in Kenyan fashion, when the husband is a pastor, the wife automatically becomes reverend also.
Yeah.
So
Automatic.
now we also have, and the family will also become the worship leaders. They have
Choir
a system.
master.
They have a system going on, but I'm telling you, it's a contribution. Wameona kanisa inakula sadaka mingi. And guess what? Because they've also used the church in the past to clean money, they don't need to do that.
Oh my gosh.
Then
that
now,
is crazy.
Sudi, wherever he is, he doesn't have to publicize that he's given 20 million to wash his system. He'll just say the 8,000 people that are in State House that go to that church, imagine they are so well paid that they raise 120 million that we've sent to our coffers.
Yeah. And yet, KRA is looking at us and our M-Pesas.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
the people that they really want to chase is our M-Pesa. My Fuliza. My 1,300 Fuliza is what they want to come after. When they are members of parliament who have 150 or 100 or 20 mil that they can give to a church.
Kenya.
Where I stand, I said, any church that does not say Kasongo or one term, imagine
Can't go to that church.
tumewachana.
But I don't know. In my circles, I don't have anybody that's supporting him. And
But where are people coming? No.
But I feel like there's people. Where are they?
I was listening to... that's a very nice question, because I was listening to... there's a podcast I was listening to, and they had this guy who kept on saying his one term, but he was truly, truly arguing for the man. He kept on making us think, you guys are...
Where does your loyalty lie?
You guys are overreacting.
What's his
Uhuru
how do you
was as
defend
bad.
him?
Uhuru was not better. He was as bad.
Okay.
And if you go back to Kibaki, there was 2007, and generally the things that have been the things that are doing, we will not feel it now. We can only feel it 10 years from now.
So his
right
MO
now
is to show how we've always had it badly.
Yeah, that
and this is just another bad person.
That we don't always, whenever someone is in power, we don't talk any good thing about them. We only come to talk about them post their term. But I was like,
Let me tell you something about that. Maybe you might not like it, but discuss this.
Yeah.
Like, even a bad clock is right.
Yeah, twice in a day.
Twice a day.
Because I said, the idea that they are defending him.
Yeah.
In that
you can't
manner.
use the 2 times the clock is right to defend like that it doesn't work.
Yeah, you can't say, but it's right at 4 o'clock every day. So, okay.
And all the other times.
What are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
Because for me, I think if you have influence, we don't need to wait for you to exit for us to go, because that means every other time since President Kibaki, we've been going down the drain. Because if you're saying, wow, Kibaki was better because we're looking at Uhuru, because Uhuru has taken us 1 inch deeper into the pit hole. Then now this guy has come, and then we are like, but we also said that about Uhuru, then he's taken us 3. No, we need to cut cords and go like now. Imagine we want 0.
Good or nothing.
If you're, and that is why I was telling guys, for me, I think the most powerful thing we can do is voting. Forget about this 6-piece voting, where people belong to a party. For once, let's have independent brains.
Yeah.
Let's bring back someone who thinks. Because let's talk about Nairobi.
But the real problem again, where are those actual candidates? Like, I can tell you, even the ones that show up as MCA, because it's that random guy in the village that's done one good thing or really contributed in one Harambee that they're like, Simama MCA,
Yes, Mama
will
MCA will support you.
Meanwhile, he stole
Yeah.
from somewhere. He's the one just selling shambas ovyo. So it's just, even at that lower level, I don't know if we have actual good candidates.
What a brilliant segue. Because I want to ask you a question on the same matters. The gentleman I was telling you about, who was trying to argue for the current regime, brought up a very serious part of the argument. He said, ever since Mwai Kibaki got into power, subsequent elections, we've not retained more than 20% of the members of parliament.
Interesting. They've gotten impeached, huh?
No, they never come back. So people don't vote them back in.
Right.
So if we're only retaining 20%, How comes you're getting worse?
I think representation of the people, not to say we're in a sad and sorry state and we can't recover from it, but like really just look inwards. These people are they're our brothers, our sisters, our cousins, and we're the ones, these people always telling them, this is the guy you need to vote for. And it's always the guys that are stealing and like doing funny things or have characters that are questionable. So I think, I don't know, it's just motivating people that are actually of good character and good standing to vie more. And like, because also people vote for the one that mwenye anawahonga the most. It's just, we're just a hungry nation.
Then we have an uphill task. Because if, number one, we need to, first of all, let's draw up our plan. We need to get better representation. So we need to ask Kenyans of goodwill and capability. To open themselves, to openly come out and be willing to lead.
Take office,
because if they're not willing to take the lead, then we'll have to with the...
Or like, because it's us who convince people, let's mama, find that good guy in your neighborhood.
In your neighborhood.
And then let's all chocha for him to
that the guy who complains over when someone is running the tap and Maji is poteaing and is there texting and saying... House number 35.
It's not that
Please,
guy. It's not that guy.
Funga hiyo maji. He's interested enough in ensuring that we do the right thing.
I don't know if it's that guy. There's a spectrum to cheze hapa katikati.
You know what, that guy? We think that is the guy. Because we need that guy who will be like, no. Because you see, we are at a point where we need something extreme fast.
You know what? We want that guy who says, hey, notice Sule security or court number this. They're not doing a good job. They might be with blah, blah, blah. So I suggest company X. This is their, credibility, recommendation, blah, blah, blah. And this is their price range.
But you see, the problem is those people never take up leadership roles, even in the court.
No,
they want to give ideas, but not take up
leadership. No, it's not taking leadership, suggesting and doing the research on behalf of the people.
That's where we are currently, because the people who are worthy of actual leadership, they push it on. The people who actually become the short callers, even after you've given them the advice.
It's that guy that you chocha, you tell him, Simama MCA.
Now, we have to ensure that these people, hey, you gave us a good proposal. We liked it.
What do you see for the entire board?
This guy area of ours. So now MCA, because we need people, because we can't have. Do you know?
But now,
do you know
is he going to get voted? Because now everybody will want something from him. It's now literally, we're all, sorry to say, we're just all corrupt in our own little ways.
Yeah.
There's corruption for survival.
Yeah. Very true.
Hi, Kanjo. And then there is there's corruption for
story.
You're always taking a little even to vote.
A few days back, I was traveling. So I'm at the airport. My Kenyan fashion, I'm almost at the closing of the gate. I'm outside, and in Kenya, nowadays there's they're called the dogs that are sniffing through the bags and everything.
Yeah.
So when I'm there, this woman approaches me and goes like, which airline are you going with? So I'm like, okay. And she's dressed in uniform. So I'm like, okay, I give her the boarding. I tell her which airline I'm going to use. And she goes like, since inakaa utaweza chelewa, see, I give you the express service. So I go like, okay, there's an express service. And for the express service, how much do I need to pay for it? And she gladly tells me 2,000 bob.
Bruh.
I go like, I ask her.
That's also a free service from the government.
I ask her, honestly, ma'am, this is the change that we are fighting for. You cannot, we have 100 people lining up. And yes, I knew I was running late.
Yeah.
And to prove her point, what I did, I spoke to everyone who was on the line and they allowed me.
Exactly.
So for that 2,000 bob that I would have paid, and that is what I'm trying to say, Kenyans, we go for the easy route because it is so easy to go into the pocket and go like, hi, stooges.
Yeah.
Let me give her.
So we're all contributing to the problem.
I'll feel the power. But we need to stop and say, it's okay. I'll wait, I'll fight my battles. Or
But now you see, you can't see in numbers. You can't just say by yourself. And now for it to be numbers, I don't even know what needs to happen, or is it in this generation or in the next? But there needs to be like sensitization to like how deep-rooted corruption is. You can't keep pointing fingers when even you at your own level, you're doing it.
Because when you come across a cop and you have a traffic infringement,
Me for survival. But then, and I'm not condoning that, but unfortunately, that's where the state of the nation.
that's the state of the nation.
However, there's small little inconveniences that I can put my foot down on. And it's those ones.
And I think that's where we start. We start the conversation as we almost wrap it up. It's the idea that we need to continue to having these discussions. And we need to make them palatable in our homes.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, we in our own homes with our folks and our bigger general relatives, we keep talking the tribal card.
Yeah.
We need to now reintroduce this conversation to our folks and go like, you see that MCA that you really like? The reason why they are popular is because they stole. Or that member of parliament that built your church. The money that they used to build your church is not clean money. And that pastor who accepted that money is also in the scheme that is not. Because if we don't have these conversations, then guess what? 2027 is not too far.
Yeah.
And then now
keep happening.
They
just
will use
spare soccer sock to everybody that shows up to the rally.
And so as you can see, they're they're bringing up the tribal card again right now. Because who cares? How many people do you go ahead and find out when you're discussing with them or when you're in the rave?
Yeah.
It doesn't really count.
Doesn't anymore, but...
Yeah. And let's hope that Kazongo goes home. Honestly. One time. It's for me, it's one of those things that I will do my part. Not because I have a personal issue with him. I just don't think the
leadership is lacking.
He either understands why he is president. He feels as though he's undercooked. He had all the steam to get him to the position. Then when he got into the position, he remembered that he forgot the book that he had all the notes on how to become president miles and miles back. And now he can't go back because he doesn't know, okay, what next?
But what do we also do with our judicial system? Because they really are, like, the last line of defense is we've got,
Yeah. It's, we are in a...
got the law that's supposed to protect us, last line of defense.
If you think about all these things, I promise
and
you,
nobody's supposed to be above the law.
You'll get depressed. Because, when did we start having conservatory orders? That I can stop you from prosecuting me. I tell the court, Aki, msichukue hii story.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And the fact that we already created precedents, now every one of these members of parliament, the moment they know they're in trouble, what do? They go and get a conservatory order and go like, but I don't even know how to deal with the judiciary. I hope
the
we need to find
judiciary should be
our last. And someone was saying the biggest problem is above High Court. Often than not, the High Court of Kenya stands with the people. Then after that, but we'll hope to sit down with a lawyer perhaps and tell us if it is true. But after that, that's when the political end starts playing out.
Right.
They will always rescind and say, no, this is unlawful, this is
But it's the fact that, nobody should be above the law. It's the fact that there's somebody that can say something to that effect. Like,
but that's a conundrum.
Who holds anybody accountable? So we're not holding them accountable at the ballot.
Yeah.
And then our judicial system is
doesn't
not
hold them
holding
accountable.
Our own law
accountable.
So
I don't know where our hope is coming from then.
There's always hope. And all in all, guys, I'm not the expert in anything. These are just my opinions. And anything we said here, I don't think is the end-all be-all solution. We're just bouncing off ideas
we're trying to
each other.
Bring up this conversation because, my parting words would be talk to your friends, ensure that as you speak to them tomorrow when you're out, have these conversations because we rarely have conversations of this nature or magnitude. We find them a little polarizing and we're afraid to have them.
Yeah.
So it is actually time that, break that mold and go like, hey, what do you think is ailing the current regime and how can we change it?
Yeah.
Because if we don't become the change we want, then truly,
We're choosing what's happening to us.
Yeah, whether
if you don't change it, you're choosing
You've chosen it and it's going to be part of you. So give us your parting shot.
My parting shot is that there's always hope. There's always something to look forward to. I think Kenya has a lot of potential as a country. And it's an interesting thing that just came to my mind. But with every disadvantage is an advantage. So I can't quite say where the advantage is right now. Maybe it's in the revolution, you know, the fact that, you know, people are building momentum towards standing for themselves and their rights. And it's so unfortunate that people have had to lose their lives. But I think maybe something can come out of this. And for anyone that has been aggrieved, there is purpose in pain. So maybe we can convert our pain into purpose and make a real change for Kenya.
One time.
One time.